Presenting the world's first television commercial for Skyline chili. Are you ready? Eat Skyline chili. Thank you.
Way before that first commercial could be made, someone had to invent Skyline chili. Nicholas Lambrinidis was born January 20th, 1883, in a tiny village in northern Greece called Vogitsiko. It was located in the Kastoria peripheral unit in West Macedonia. He came from a traditional and loving Greek family and grew up to be not only a patient man, but a determined one as well, who always waited for and made the best of the opportunities available. Young Nicholas had a talent for and an interest in cooking. He learned from his mother and other family members in the tiny kitchens of Greece. There he developed his skills as well as his remarkably acute sense of taste, which would serve him well throughout his life. In 1910, at age 27, he married Alexandra Sangragangos, a young woman from his village, an arranged marriage. They soon moved to Istanbul, then known as Constantinople, where he worked in a restaurant. The First Balkan War saw many young Greek men sent to the United States to avoid battle. Only the young men went because of the huge expense. It would take 11 years to send enough money for his wife to emigrate to the U.S. and join him. During that time, he worked as a cook on the Pennsylvania Railroad, lived in a boarding house in Cleveland, and learned English. In 1922, Nicholas and Alexandra were reunited, and even though in their 30s, started their long-delayed family at once. Within 6 years, they had a thriving family. Their first son, Haralambos, called Lambert, was born in 1923. The next year, Alexandra gave birth to Demetrios, or Jim. In 1927, the couple had twins, Vasilios and Christos, called Bill and Christy. In 1929, their last child, John, was born. During that time, the family moved to Cincinnati, to a neighborhood teeming with Italians, Lebanese, and Greeks, often attending services at St. Peter and Chains Cathedral. Nicholas supported his family by doing what he did best, cooking. He and a partner opened Adam's Cafe at 7th and Elm, downtown. The partner, though, suffered from a gambling problem, which forced the venture to close. Nicholas swore he would never again open a restaurant, except with his sons. He held tightly to that dream. The boys grew up learning to work hard, some in the restaurant business, and learned the trade. Together, the Lambrinidis family worked hard and saved their money, and to take pride in their family being U.S. citizens and of their Greek heritage. Nicholas continued to work in restaurants, but also on his own culinary creations, especially his unique take on Greek chili. On October 10th, 1949, the dream came true. The very first Skyline chili opened on Glenway Avenue, just a couple of blocks from their home. Nicholas, at age 66, when most people think about retiring, started a new business instead. The German-Irish people of Price Hill hadn't tried the surprising chili before and were slow to embrace it, but the Lambrinidis men and women, as the family grew through marriage, worked nearly around the clock to make their business a success.
When we started, we had to do everything, and most of the things had to be done by hand because there wasn't any equipment to do what we wanted to do. The money went right back into the equipment that we bought, and it was tough to even stay even. My two brothers, they were in the service. They'd call and write and say, "How's the business going?" "Terrible." "So why don't you sell it?" I says, "What am I going to sell?" Fridays was no meat on Fridays, and that was a dead day. And at midnight Friday, the place jammed.
The company grew through the hard work of Nicholas and Lambert when the twins were in the Army, and then continued to grow when Bill and Christy returned to the business. Soon, brothers Jim and John joined the family business. Meanwhile, Nicholas and Alexandra remained the guiding lights. Nicholas, quiet and methodical, painstaking in every detail, making sure the coffee was fresh, the food was hot and perfectly prepared, and that the restaurant was always spotless. As the restaurants began to flourish, friends began coming to them to ask about opening Skyline franchises. Skyline chili restaurants began to open at other locations.
Now, the Lambrinidis boys, they was the neatest people. They would try to do anything they can If I need the help, they was there. When I moved there, I ran out of money before I finished the place. And I told them, one Jim, he went across the river and got me $15,000, finished my air conditioner and everything. Here I am today, and I'm very grateful for Nick Labrinidis, who created this Skyline Chili.
In his final years, Nicholas let the boys run the business more and more. His one piece of advice, don't change anything. The recipe is perfect just the way it is.
He just wanted what was best for his family and came up with the recipe. I can remember going down the basement at their home, and the spice room was all separate. We weren't allowed in there, but I can still to this day smell those spices. On a rare occasion, they'd let some of the older ones go in and check it out, but we weren't in there very long. Just a good man, a good family man. Loved to watch his family be together. Enjoyed them very much.
In December 1962, at age 79, 51 years after coming to America, Nicholas Lambrinidis passed away. He lived a full life with 2 crowning accomplishments: raising and providing for a wonderful family, and creating Skyline Chili, one of the culinary treasures of Cincinnati. Today, the Skyline story is far from over, with 130 restaurants in 4 states and still expanding. Nicholas Lambrinidis, he came to America from a poor, tiny village in Greece with little money. He couldn't even speak English when he got here. But he achieved the American dream through a strong work ethic and much personal sacrifice, combined with finely honed culinary skills and superb attention to detail.
My brother John and I first started working in the business in the late 60s and early 70s. Our grandfather had already passed away, but we were working with our grandmother, our father, and our uncles in the business. We were the 3rd generation Lambrinidis in the business.
And the tradition continues today with the 4th generation of Lambrinidises. They can be seen actively in the restaurants right now, serving the same great food that our grandfather Nicholas originated. Thanks, Papu, for giving us a wonderful life.
Nicholas Lambrinidis' dedication to his family and to his core business principles enabled him to become one of Cincinnati's finest success stories. Thanks to Nicholas and to his hardworking family, whenever the rest of us feel that old familiar craving, we can always say it's Skyline time.